Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a gentleman from Charlottesville, Virginia, who is an acoustic singer, songwriter, and awesome, John Tracy. Hi, John.
Hey, Allie. Hello, everybody out there. Nice to be here.
Good. I'm glad to have you. And hello, Terry, who is your wife.
Hi there. How are you doing today, Allie?
Oh, doing really good. Doing really good. So, John, I've listened to your music. It takes me back to the 70s where people wrote real lyrics. Not saying that people don't write real lyrics today. It just reminds me of that era where there's a story, like the 60s and 70s kind of deal. Now, tell us about yourself, like when you started getting interested in music right up to today.
Yeah, well, you nailed it. I mean, I started playing at 16 years old, and it was the 70s singer-songwriters. I loved the acoustic sound that, there were other sounds in the 70s, of course, but there were some really great acoustic singer-songwriters, like you said, that wrote real lyrics and wrote really interesting melodies acoustically that you don't really hear a lot anymore. So, yeah, that's what kind of like lit the fire, so to speak.
Okay.
I got a guitar and started taking lessons, and then I just started learning by ear. I had an old, what they call a reel-to-reel tape player. I'd turn it on and listen to all my people that I enjoyed hearing, and I'd stop it and reel it back and, just pick out the songs note for note and learn that way. So, yeah, and played like that and just enjoyed. I dabbled with songwriting in my early 20s and was, started writing songs. Then I met my wife, and my first dream was to meet my soulmate and have a family, and God granted me that. I met Terry, and it was a fairy tale come true, which is the kind of song, the story with the song you'll be playing later called Fairy Tales Come True. But
Aw.
So yeah,
you're melting me here.
I still played and enjoyed music, but I got into all the things that a husband would do. I went to work in my family with my dad in a family business, and worked there. Just kind of climbed the ladder, and we did all the things you do as newlyweds and growing up and having a family and buying the house and the dog and all those things, climbing the corporate ladder, so to speak. But, I don't know, after about 25 years working with my dad, it was just, as family businesses go as well, we were completely different people, and we were always at odds with each other, and I just decided that it was really time for me to leave that. I still had a passion for my music, and with the support of my wife and daughters, just get out and do something else, go on a new adventure. And that was in 2006, and been doing it professionally since then, and has grown, really grown my songwriting, and was always taking classes and trying to better myself. I think that's what everybody has to do, just to glean what you can from courses and listen and learn and take what you think you need from that. But yeah, it's been kind of a cool journey watching my songwriting grow and me grow and everything as far as a songwriter. So here we are. I think we've got like 6 CDs now. I even have a Christmas CD where I did some old classics that I really love, and I rearranged them into my acoustic style and gave them a new, fresh kind of a suit, kind of reclothed them and made them familiar enough that I changed them up to give them a fresh sound. And I wrote a couple of originals for that Christmas CD as well. So yeah, we had fun releasing that last year. There's 17 songs on it. So you could put that thing on and just kind of like let it run for a party,
Oh, nice. Now, your wife is also your manager, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think I've talked to a lot of husband-wife teams, and I think that when it's either family or your spouse, you probably push a lot harder to get them out there, as opposed to a manager that has 10 million people underneath them kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. You're more personally invested in the songs and in the career, and, you share the vision of the passion that, a lot of times an outsider doesn't. Sometimes an outsider is good because they're more objective and a little less personally vested, which is also a plus. But yeah, I think you're probably right. I think it works for us, at least. We work together in the family business, so it was almost just a natural progression to tackle this adventure together as well.
Oh, that's cool. Now, I'm going to read a couple of quotes that people have said about you, and they kind of capture what kind of music you do. Now, first I'm going to talk about you're a charting artist. Having 2 singles from your latest album, Happily Ever After, reached the top 10 on the US FMQB-AC charts. Both singles were also included in the United Kingdom's Brit Rock show, syndicated to 81 UK radio stations, as well as 5 other syndicated shows across the UK and Europe. So you're getting radio play like crazy, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was exciting for sure.
What was it like hearing yourself? Did you actually get to hear yourself?
I think there were a couple times that we were able to make that happen, where we could tune in. Some of them, obviously most radio stations now broadcast via the internet as well, so that makes it, a lot easier to hear yourself when you're not in the same city. And for me, it was kind of here, just to be like, hey, I know that guy personally.
I'm married to him. Now, your videos have also attracted attention from all over the music video programming spectrum. I love this, including video on demand, multi-market, retail pool content providers, and internet programmers. And you're being shown in prominent retailers, nightclubs, and restaurants in the U.S. and my hometown, Canada. My home, yeah, which is awesome. And Al Canola of 88.1 WVPE Public Radio said of your latest album, John Tracy's new CD is an excellent album in all respects: songs, recording quality, production, vocals, talent, you name it. To get recognized by all these people, there's 2 more that I'm going to read yet, but that must show you that you're on the right path and you're doing what you're supposed to do. It's kind of like validation, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because oftentimes you get discouraged, and to hear those sort of things from your fans and from the DJs and people in the industry, that kind of infuses you to keep pressing on. And yeah, it's a great validation. It's a tough business.
Yeah, it is. I know I'm talking to a lot of people. Now, you studied the craft of songwriting with some of the industry's best, including Don Henry, Ellis Paul, and Steve Seskin. Does it help when you're studying songwriting with other people, like co-writing or anything like that?
I think it is a good thing to go to these classes and these conferences where you have the songs you've written critiqued and analyzed, and you learn what makes a good song, as far as makes it interesting, and what keeps the listener's attention, and what works melodically and without losing who you are. So yeah, my song has morphed and has improved just exponentially from these guys and who have had some of their own success. And of course, there are things that some of them have to offer that you just kind of think, that's not, I don't really agree with that. But for the most part, it's a good thing to get some constructive criticism and take that. And I've rewritten songs. When I'm in a dry spell, I'll go to an old song that I've written years ago, and think, I can do better than that now. And sure enough, I can rewrite it and make it a better song, and the new ones that come along. You already have something laid down where you know where to go that you wouldn't have, read or years ago. So yeah, it is. I think your question was, is it was it a good thing to study with these guys?
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it.
Good. Now, one of the things
the songwriters just keep writing. They just keep writing, and they don't listen to what's going on, and they don't take criticism, and they keep writing, falling into the same pitfalls of their songwriting, and their songs continue to be uninteresting, and I listen to that, and I just think, come on, man.
You can do better.
Keep going forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, a lot of what your bio says and a lot of what the industry says, and you can hear it in your music, is you're raw, authentic, and you are laying your soul bare and openly sharing your experiences. And your songs do. Your songs are about everyday things that affect all of us, that a lot of people, like you said, they kind of get into a groove where they don't move. And with your songs, you try to capture what all of us go through on regular bases. And I think that's what draws me into your songs. Like I said, the 60s and 70s, where there's a story and it relates to me in some way. And your songs do. No, don't thank me. That's your deal. Now, another Jeff Curtis, the executive director from the Orange Downtown Alliance, says John Tracy's genius in delivering lyrical melodies of all things that we experience as human, which I just said, may only be surpassed by his mastery of the guitar. And John will tell you he loves writing songs, but his music tells you that he loves the human connection, which goes right back to what I just said. So you're being recognized for that, which is amazing, because that's what you do.
Yeah, that's just kind of who I am. I just put it out there in lyric and in song. That's what I want to do. I want to make a difference. I want to connect with people that way. And it's the best way I found to do this, through the music that I write. And like I say, make a difference, kind of let people know that they're not alone, and to give people hope and inspiration and those sort of things. I just think that's important, at least it is to me, rather than just a song that you hear and when it's over with, you don't really remember what it said.
Yeah. Yeah, your songs definitely make you think, and they draw you in. Now, John Stein of WTBQ Hootenanny Cafe said, there are songs and CDs that capture my attention, and there are CDs that capture my attention and captivate my heart and soul. John Tracy's CDs and songs do just that. From the moment I started listening, I was hooked. I am still captivated. John Tracy knows how to write songs and melodies that draw the listeners in. And it's not just your songwriting, it's the timbre of your voice. You have a very warm, welcoming voice where I can't even explain it. It's like curling up in front of a fireplace with a good book and a glass of wine. It's just beautiful.
That's
No, like I said, it's beautiful. Now, you've shared your music on an international level at events all across the US and Europe. You're a seasoned performer, and your shows leave people inspired, which obviously, just from listening to your songs, I can imagine. Watching you in concert would be an absolute treat. It would just be amazing. So I'm going to urge you to come to Canada. Well, one of the things I'm going to put on Twitter when I put this on is, okay, everybody in Canada, start contacting your concert promoters, and let's get these people out here. Because
that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Allie, it's so true. Seeing him live, he is just as open and just as personable and just as warm as his songs are. It's like, as someone said, it's like time spent with an old friend. And I can say that because I'm his wife, but I hear it so many times, that he's just so that authenticity and soulfulness that comes through in his music is exactly who he is when he presents it live.
Yeah, and that's what it would be a treat. Now, if you had any advice, John, to give, or Terry, to give new artists, what would that advice be?
Terry can give her advice. I'm trying to think. I really believe that in today's market, if you're wanting to, in Twitter, I run across all these really young people who say, when we're conversing on Twitter, I want to be famous, I want to be a star, and they don't really want to do the work, and it's a really, it's not a reasonable goal to be famous and to be a star in this environment of music, and I would think that it almost needs to be a calling. What I feel like it with me, it's something that you have to do and that you were called to do, that you were made to do, whether you become famous or not. It's like, well, I can't do anything else if I stop doing this, and then, maybe God will tell me to stop doing it at some point, then I will. But it's kind of like, if I stop doing it, I'll stop being really who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And don't go after that. Don't get in the music business for the wrong reasons. It has to be really almost a spiritual thing, I would think, honestly.
Okay. Terry, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think, kind of second what John said, you have to have realistic expectations. This business is hard. It's mean, it's cruel, it's rewarding, it's amazing, but it's a lot of hills to climb and valleys to go through, and you have to be prepared to do the work. You can't just think, like so many of the young kids that we interact with, that they're just going to open their mouth and be Adele.
Yeah.
It's a long. You have to be determined and educate yourself. Like he said too, hone your craft, get good at your craft, take classes, never stop learning and progressing.
Yeah.
That's you're in it for the long game. This isn't like a short payoff. This is the long game.
Exactly.
You kind of have to think it that way.
Now, another question I want to ask you. The majority of the artists that I have come on are independent. I've had a couple that are signed, and I'm not a songwriter or a singer, so I could care either way. But I'm hearing that a lot of people prefer being independent because they have the freedom to do what they want, write the songs that they want to sing. And with Spotify and CD Baby and iTunes and Chance the Rapper, who I mention, I think, in every interview now, has shown us that you don't have to be signed to win a Grammy. Do you think it's better to be independent or signed, John?
Boy, that's a tough one. I don't know. It could go either way. Obviously, a label has the means to get you to more of the masses, I would think. And
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but independently, yeah, you have a way to get your music everywhere as well. Like you said, Spotify and Pandora and all these streaming services, which, yeah, you're getting out there, but you've got to almost like try to become an entrepreneur in a way, and because no one buys music anymore. Very rarely are they buying music because of these streaming services.
Yeah.
You rip the artists off. They don't, well, the way the laws are written, they don't have to pay an honest wage, or a compensation back to artists. So, and you can't blame people for, paying $20 a month and getting all the music they want. It sucks for us artists because they don't really get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
So anywho, I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought. But as a label or independent, it's tough on either road you take. You've got to be an entrepreneur and really do some things outside the box that aren't just your music.
Yeah.
And two, I think that either way you go, you have to take responsibility for your career. You can't assume someone else is going to do the work for you, or is going to always have your best interest at heart, whether that's your label or your management, or whether it's you doing it yourself. Ultimately, it still falls back on your responsibility to keep being the driving force.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, thank you. I've been asking that question a lot lately because I've been hearing, I interviewed a guy from The Voice, and Adam Levine was his coach, and Adam Levine told him not to sign. Adam told him to stay independent. And then I've been talking to people constantly, and they're saying they would rather be independent than signed, and it was just kind of like, really? Because, I mean, I grew up in the era where you were signed, you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of independent music, right? So, yeah, it's just something that I wanted to ask you because it has been coming up a lot. Now, where can people buy your music, John?
Well, I'll take that since I'm the manager.
Alrighty.
Pretty much everywhere. The best place to get it is on his website at johntracymusic.com. But he's on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon. I mean, you name it, he's out there. And he's on all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, I think, too. And it's at John Tracy Music on all of those. He's on YouTube as well. So you can't have any trouble finding him.
Perfect. I will put a couple of those up there where they can purchase his music. I urge everybody to purchase music because I don't believe it's fair that these artists are working their butts off to get their music out there and somebody can just rip off the music from, the internet and get it for free. So I urge people to buy music. I will also be putting your website up on my website so people know where to find you. And what 2 songs are we going to hear from you today, John?
Yeah, off of our latest CD, it's Happy Ever After. And 2 songs.
And I've got to find myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, but the CD, the actual CD is titled Happy Ever After. The 2 songs you'll hear today are Fairy Tales Come True and I've Got to Find Myself.
Okay, and they're both beautiful songs. And it's been a pleasure talking to both of you. You guys are, it's like talking to friends. It's so hard to explain. You guys are just so laid back. It's awesome. And like I said, I will urge people to go out and purchase your music, and I will urge my fellow Connects to get a hold of their local concert promoters and get you out here because I would love to see you in concert. So I'm going to urge them to do that.
That would be awesome. We could do an in-person interview as a follow-up, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You'd be coming to my house, but that's okay. We can sit and have a coffee. Anyways, I want to thank both of you so much. Pardon? What did you say?
Your attic, too?
Oh my gosh, you have no idea how I wish that was my attic. But the funny part about that, I'll tell you a little side story about me. The chair that is in that picture, the reason I picked that picture, my mom had that chair. Which, is so beyond me. And I found it on Pinterest, and I had to ask the lady if I could use it for my web show, and she gave me permission, thankfully. But yeah, that chair my mom had. So it's kind of like home to me. It's bizarre. But yeah, if I could have that attic, I think I'd live in there forever. I'd never leave. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it so much, you taking time out of your day, and people are going to love the songs, I know for a fact. And I'm getting over like close to 400 hits a day, so it's definitely going to be out there. I'm on Facebook. I have 2 accounts. I'm on Instagram, and then I'm also on Twitter. So try to find me, and because I'll be posting it on there as well as Twitter as soon as it's done and up on my website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Allie.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers.